Hello everyone! Welcome back to Red Doe Reads. Today we have r/Am I the Butthole? If you want me to cover some specific subreddit in the next video, leave it in the comments. Am I the butthole for assuming my daughter could have a third plate? Yesterday, my sister hosted a family dinner at her house. It was one of those just because dinners, no special occasion. My sister is a great cook and she made tons of food for that one night. My daughter was on her second plate by the end of the night. Once she finished, she asked if she could get another one. I said yes, but my sister, her aunt, looked at her with a shocked expression and said, "Another plate?" My daughter turned around and gave me a somewhat uncomfortable look. My daughter is 16 and has 2 part-time jobs to pay for some of her college tuition, so she usually doesn't eat until 7 or 8 p.m. So I didn't even blink twice when she got up to grab her third plate. I turned to my sister and said she's been working all day without anything to eat. You made tons of food, it won't hurt for her to get another plate. My sister started yelling, saying something about how it wasn't my place to say if my daughter could get more of her food that she made. Now I do somewhat agree with that. I might have been a butthole because of that. Looking back, I'm thinking maybe I should have asked. My daughter ended up not getting another plate and the vibe was awkward now, so we just decided to go. Before we left out the door, my sister stopped me and told me I should have taught my daughter manners and how it isn't right to get more than one plate at someone else's house. I told my sister she was being ridiculous and somehow our voices got loud enough where my mom started to hear us in the small corner. She came over and started telling me she agreed with my sister and it was rude for my daughter to eat that many plates. I started to get fed up when they began telling me I wasn't teaching her proper manners, so I laughed. Then, of course, they began texting my phone saying how it was rude to leave in the middle of our conversation. I don't think I was the butthole at all for leaving because I wasn't going to stay in a place where I felt disrespected. But I'm not sure about the plate thing. So, am I the butthole for assuming my daughter could get another plate? Oh, no, of course not. I don't understand it. When you're invited for dinner, it's not like there is a limit on the food that you could eat. I cannot even imagine this happening. I don't know, OP's sister could be the jerk that she is and put a sign of not more than 1 plate per person. What kind of family dinner is that? Guys, we reached 225 subscribers! What a beautiful number! I would be so incredibly happy if we could get to 250 subscribers soon because it is 250,000! Sounds great, right? So please subscribe, you will make my day. And come back tomorrow. Am I the butthole for wearing a 2-piece to my kids' swimming lessons? I, 27 female, am a mother to quadruplets aged 2. This is their first year taking swimming lessons, and at their age, the lessons require one-to-one with the child adult as well as an instructor to teach. So me, my husband, and 2 of my husband's friends came along. Unfortunately, all 4 of the kids got booked for the same time. They started the lessons on Monday and ended today, Friday. At the lessons, all other kids had their mothers or female guardians with them, and all of them wore shorts and t-shirt swimsuits. My husband and his friends had trunks with no shirt, and I wore a 2-piece. Nothing bad, everything was well covered, but obviously my stomach and back showed. I did not think it was a big deal, and I honestly didn't even notice what everyone wore until probably Wednesday. And it was fine because everybody, including me, was modest. However, they finished their lessons today. When everyone was getting changed to leave, a few mothers came up to me. They said they didn't want to mention it earlier to make classes awkward, but they and few other mothers were uncomfortable with how I was wearing a 2-piece to the lessons all week. They suggested if I do another class with my kids here, I cover up my stomach because nobody wants to see it because of stretch marks from my pregnancy, which is a lot more than average because I had quadruplets. I asked if they had an issue with how my husband and his friends didn't wear a shirt at all, and they said they didn't care because they didn't have the baby belly like I did. Now I am back home and I cannot decide if they were being rude or just were honest. They made sure to tell me it wasn't about the modesty, it was just my stomach. I never thought about it, so maybe it's my fault for being careless and not thinking of everyone else. My husband says I was fine, but all the mothers there apparently don't think so. So am I the butthole? Oh wow, I think this is one of the most ridiculous stories I have ever read. And the thing I do not understand the most is that the fact that this is coming from women who had children, who were pregnant, who have stretch marks. For Pete's sake, OP had quadruplets, 4 children. So yeah, screw other moms and yay to OP. You can wear any kind of swimsuit that you find appropriate. Am I the butthole for bringing an uninvited guest to a destination wedding? I, 26 female, was invited to a wedding within my state, but far enough that to attend I'd have to sleep over at a hotel for at least 2 nights if I arrived the night before, as it was planned to be a pretty much all-day affair. I was very flattered to be invited, as I didn't think I was that close to the couple. It was a fairly small wedding, around 60 guests including the bridal party. Obviously, as it was very small and I was possibly a second-round invitee, I didn't get a +1. Fine with me, I ultimately decided to go. When I went to book the hotel room for my stay, I found out that they only had large room available, multiple beds or king beds, etc., as it's popular wedding destination and it is a bit fancy. So I thought, why not invite my boyfriend? That way we could trade off on the long drive there and back and share the big room I would have to pay for anyways. The idea was that the night we arrived, we could get dinner together somewhere new and have a nice breakfast before heading back home. While I was at the wedding events, he could just hang out in the hotel room or the pool or whatever. The wedding went great, but then after it wrapped up, the maid of honor, who I'm closer to than the bride, was chatting with me as I walked back to my room and I knocked on the door instead of digging through my bag for the key card. When my boyfriend opened the door for me, the maid of honor just greeted him and walked off. I didn't think it was a big deal or anything. A few days later, the maid of honor reached out and said it was awkward and uncomfortable for me to have invited him to the hotel, and it made everyone feel bad and weird that he was there waiting for their wedding to end when they hadn't invited him. We were both a bit surprised. No one even knew he was there because it didn't come up at all during the wedding. It definitely wasn't a secret, and honestly, you wouldn't have thought it was a big deal if people did know. And he had only met the bride and groom like 6 times and had 0 issues with not being invited to such an intimate wedding. Also, if it matters, I was far from the only guest who didn't get a +1, and I never asked to be given a +1 for him. I have no clue if the maid of honor told the bride, and if the bride also thinks this was inappropriate. If she hasn't, I really don't want to contact her during her honeymoon to start drama. I didn't check or anything beforehand. That's my bad, I guess. So, was inviting him really a big deal? It is a big deal only if you make it a big deal. If you paid for the hotel, you can bring however many people with you as you please. The maid of honor is just stirring drama, but if I were OP, I wouldn't do anything. If they are uncomfortable, well, too bad for them. Am I the butthole for letting people know I was the only one in my department not invited to coworker's wedding when they were told I couldn't attend? So a woman in my department got married. Everyone in the department, 10 people excluding bride, was invited except for me. I was personally told the wedding was being kept small as they didn't want to spend extravagantly. The others were told that I couldn't attend. At a department meeting following the wedding, when the bride was back from the honeymoon, everyone was talking about the wedding. A coworker commented it was a shame I couldn't attend. I remarked that I wasn't even invited. I could see the bride's face visibly change, and now she's mad at me and our working relationship is cordial at best. To further this, our department had a dinner and celebration for her, and I contributed to the gift. The date was selected and changed based on others' availability, but I couldn't attend due to a trip overseas I had planned last year. It wasn't even discussed if it could be changed so I could attend. The person organizing it was another coworker and her best friend. I think this other coworker, and not the bride herself, is the one behind my exclusion for the same reason unbeknownst to me. So am I the butthole for clarifying that I was never even invited in front of the whole department that was told that I could not attend? Of course not. Even though a lot of people in the comments are saying, "Oh, OP is such a butthole, why say it publicly?" Well, as far as I understand, the bride and the maid of honor publicly said that OP could not attend, so it is only fair that OP corrected them. Am I the butthole for not acting happy when my wife saw me on our morning commute? So I, 31 male, was driving to work this morning and I'm getting close to my exit. I'm driving along in the middle lane, past this slower car in the right lane, and I'm about to switch lanes when the car in the right lane suddenly speeds up, blocking my access to that lane. Automatically, I'm annoyed, and I look over to see what the heck is wrong with that driver. Turns out it is my wife, and she's smiling and waving, happy to see me on her way to work. I don't wave back or smile. Keep in mind, I'm already annoyed at the driver speeding up to block my way, trying to make my exit, and caught by surprise to see my wife. My wife sends me a message when she gets to work saying she was sad I didn't wave back, but I figured she was joking and forgot about it. Later tonight, she brought it up and we ended up having a mini argument over it. Turns out her feelings were actually hurt by me not acting happy to see her. From my point of view, I was kind of annoyed because I could have missed my exit or worse, gotten in an accident. I just do not think the freeway at 7 a.m. is the place to do that. From her point of view, she was trying to make a connection and show love, and I didn't reciprocate that. Am I the butthole for not waving back to my wife on the freeway when I was trying to change lanes and make my exit? Well, first of all, OP is butthole for his driving style. If you're planning to take an exit, you drive in the right lane, not in the middle one. That's first. Second, how could you not recognize your wife's car? Don't you remember what kind of car your partner drives? And third, how hard is it to wave back or to blow a kiss or something? Oh, such a butthole. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. You can also watch this awesome video or that awesome playlist. See you next time.